They're getting me straight. I'm waiting for it to go live now. It says we're live on YouTube also. So that's kind of cool. We're trying out new software. So hang in there with me. I'm not that versed in it right now. Do me a favor, if you would, type in the box there. There's a chat box and let me know if you can hear me. I want to make sure you can hear me. And I see people coming in. So we had a little bit of a glitchy start here. So I want to make sure everybody can hear me. Now, if you have signed up for the Inner Circle coaching call and you're on this call and you use that link, that's cool. I am also live on YouTube right now, so I'll be switching back and forth. You can take a look at that. Yes?
So your webinar jam is a black screen because you haven't...
Yeah, let me get to that then.
But your YouTube stream is like...
Okay, it's the webinar jam's black screen?
Yeah.
I have no idea how to fix that because I'm showing I'm sharing it.
Turn webcam on, 'cause that's how you're gonna have to...
No, I see it. I see it. Okay. Am I good there now?
You're in the bottom corner.
I'm in the bottom
What
corner.
else do you have on?
Well, let's see here. Let's hide this first off. And
Don't use your screen share.
oh, I don't. Maybe that's what it is. Let me turn off the screen share. There I am, and there's Jessica. Okay, we're getting this thing figured out. I'm pretty new to this, guys. So, as you well know, I've built my business. We've done millions of dollars in sales without technical knowledge. So I've got Jessica for a backup. So you should see like a little tiny screen of me in the top left now. Put in that comment section, guys. Make sure you can hear me. I want to make sure everybody can. I'm going to switch over to the chat thing here. And I'm actually going to be able to look at the chat there. Osra, how you doing? Jimmy's in there. We've got Eric. We've got Omar. Cool. All right. So this is going to be good. This is going to be fun today. This is something different. And I will tell you, all of this is going to be done today without notes. Why? Because I saved it somewhere and I lost it. And that's the honest to God truth. I was just in there freaking out. I'm like, I've got all these notes. I spent all this time on doing that stuff there. And unfortunately, they got lost. This stuff happens. And I'm sure they're there. But anyhow. So put where you're from, what time it is where you're at. I know we got people from all around the world, which is pretty cool. We've got a circle of Jessica there. So Jessica's with me today. And on my screen, there's a circle of Jessica. But she's live. Jessica, say hi. Yeah, and we're also working on my studio here. We're going to redo the lighting in it and get that all changed up. So in that comment section, make sure you put in there where you're from, what time it is, and I see your name, so I don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to be switching back and forth between, okay, there we go. You're in Lithuania, okay. Osra, I remember that. Yeah. We've been talking for a while. And then I'm going to switch back over to this one I've got in YouTube. And Jessica, what are you seeing on your screen there as far as the actual webinar now?
Or webinar jam?
Yeah.
It's like
okay.
me and a circle.
Well, it may not have caught up yet because I was switching back and forth. But anyhow, guys, motivation. This is the time to talk about this, right? This is the actual beginning of the year. Now we're 17 days into it, whatever. Today's the 17th of January, 2020. My God. And what can we do to be motivated? Motivation is a really tricky thing, and your mind will tell you to do stuff. Hey, Christine, what's going on, Marco? Okay, everybody's flooding in now. I'm starting to see everybody. Colorado, it's 12:03, and that's David there. And it's 11:03. Christine says, okay, so yeah, you're in California, Christine, so we are too. But I want you guys to feel free. Hey, Christine saying hello to you, Jessica there. I want you guys to feel free to ask questions about this. This is a really open session today. This is my Inner Circle group that are attending, but we also have people live on YouTube that are attending on this. And I think it's best to start off the year getting motivated, right? Getting motivated, making sure you feel like doing stuff you want to do. And I'm going to actually look at the camera. I've been looking at the screen the whole time. I should be looking at the camera, but I'm trying to read your comments too. Because getting that motivation is really going to be crucial to your success this year. And having that motivation and keeping that motivation, is really important. Now, I'll have people tell me, oh, motivation's BS. I've been to those things, and, that stuff just wears off after a while. And yeah, you feel good for a day, and, then it just wears off, and then you don't have it anymore. And you know what? That is like 100% true. Let me get a little sip here. It's so true. And if you realize that it wears off, then you're going to realize that you need it ongoing. Okay. It's kind of like eating. If you eat, you don't eat once and for good. You say, I'm gonna eat this one time and I'm done. Okay. I'm gonna be full. No, because it wears off, right? You got to eat every single day. So, motivation is a lot like eating. It makes you feel good, and it nourishes you, and then it goes away when something bad happens. It goes away when you're tired. It goes away when you're sick. It goes away when things are going wrong, or you have money problems, and then all of a sudden, that motivation thing, that's tough. Oh, I see Marco just came in from Finland. That's very cool. Nice to see you, Marco. Now, if some of you guys are new to me on this channel, we don't talk any BS, okay? This is my inner circle group, but we're actually broadcasting live on YouTube today too. And, I've been selling online since like 2009, just to give you a little backstory on me. And since that time, we've sold millions of dollars worth of digital and physical products. And in doing so, figured out a few things. We've learned a few things. We've learned how to do ads, and we've learned how to do marketing, and we've learned how to, communicate with people. We've learned how to, distribute stuff, whether it's drop shipping, whether it's our physical warehouse, which we also have. Our main company, if you guys don't know it, is Survivalcave Food. I mean, that is the main company, Survivalcave Food. And Jessica, if you don't mind, would you put that in the comment section? And can you also put stuff in the comment section on YouTube, Jessica? Sure you can. Yeah. So she'll put that in there too, guys. So if you're not on the Inner Circle call within Webinar Jam, which is where we're actually broadcasting this, you'll be able to see that. And I want to switch over here real quick. So we've determined what? We've determined that you have to have motivation. Now, we haven't determined what motivation is, though. That's the problem. Now, everybody thinks that if you just motivate somebody, they're going to be successful. And nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, that's just not the case. And that's why people don't do well with motivation, is they think that if you just motivate somebody, that they're going to be successful. Now, I'm going to tell you that there's an added component that's needed with motivation. And that added component is what? Education. Okay, so you can be motivated. That's cool. That's great. Motivation's awesome. But then what do you do? Okay, you need education. You got to know what to do with that motivation. So if I take an idiot and I motivate him, what have you got? And you can put your reply there in the comment section. You take an idiot, motivate him, what do you have? Kind of interesting to think about for a second, isn't it? I know, because I've seen people like this where, they're motivated, but nobody ever educated them. So since they aren't educated, you end up with basically a motivated idiot, right? So that's not good. You got to have this education. So on this channel, in my inner circle and on this channel, what I do is I share with you the things that we actually do. Because, yeah, somebody's got it. Who is that? Who is it that said that? Robert figured out. He says, yeah, motivated idiot. That's totally correct, Robert. And when you take somebody and you don't educate them and you just motivate them, that's when all of this wears off. That's when you don't really get things accomplished. And I'll give you an example today. I got ready to do my coaching call and lost my presentation. So I said, well, I'm just going to have to go on screen because I'm committed to this, right? There's people who I know are going to show up and I'm committed to doing this. I can't go, oh, I lost my stuff. Let's just cancel. Though I did say it out loud because I was upset at the time. But, I know this is going to end up being a really great session because a lot of you guys are going to come away with this information and you're going to feel more motivated. You really are. So let's talk about that motivation. If motivation is not what they've told us it was, what is motivation? Well, motivation usually comes out of some form of success. Okay, so it's just the opposite of what they told you. It's not, motivation is success. Success is motivation. And if you think about this, anytime that you accomplished something in life. You did something and you felt successful. You felt like, oh my God, I did something and I did this really good. Did you notice that you felt motivation right after that? Did you notice that right after success comes motivation? So the question therein lies is, if you need motivation to be successful, how are you going to have success to get motivated, right? It all seems backwards the way they've taught it to us. And this is how it works. You have to figure out the things that you want to do. Number one, what do you want to do? So we're going to say number one today is, what do you want to accomplish this year? What is it you want to do this year? What is the thing you want to do? Do you want to make, $100,000 this year selling online? Do you want to make $500,000? And, to some of you, you may say, well, $100,000 or $500,000, that sounds like an awful lot of money. Understand, money is relative, okay? If I told Elon Musk, who just took $40 million in deposits on his truck, that he would make $100,000 this year, he would freak. He would go, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't, no way. He says, I need millions of dollars a year. So it's all relative. And the first thing you got to do if you're setting this goal of whatever you want to achieve this year, if you've got to change your mindset. You got to say, wait a second. There are people doing this. There are people making money out there right now, and they're making more than X. Okay, so if your X is $100,000 this year, and I will tell you, if I made $100,000, I would freak out because that's not going to cover all my expenses. But if that's your starting point, that's fine. But understand that whatever your starting point is, there's probably somebody higher out there. So the first thing you got to get in your head is it's possible. If you don't have it in your head that it's possible, none of this motivation stuff that I'm going to tell you about today will make a bit of difference. Because if your mind doesn't believe something's possible, then you're not going to be able to do it. And now a good example of this is many years ago, I think it was in the 50s, and somebody can correct me on this, but it was believed that no human being could run a 4-minute mile. Couldn't do it, wouldn't be possible. There's no way. It's not physically possible. The body would break down. It couldn't be done. And along comes this guy named Roger Bannister, and Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. He ran faster than 4 minutes and did an entire mile. Now, that being said, he basically proved to everybody it could be done. Now, here's the funny thing. There were several people that same year that broke the 4-minute mile. Now, what caused that? What was the occurrence that made it possible for him to break the 4-minute mile, first off? And then more importantly, why did all these other people break the 4-minute mile? Well, somehow in his mind, he ignored the science and he said, no, I can do it. I can break the 4-minute mile. Now, the other people, they had it much easier. They didn't have to convince themselves anymore, did they? No. All they had to do is go, this guy did it over here. He broke the 4-minute mile, and since he broke the 4-minute mile, now I know I can. And it was just that knowing. So all those people prior to that, all those thousands of people tried to do that before. They couldn't do it because they didn't have that example in their life. It wasn't there. It wasn't something that they saw accomplished. Now, you guys listening to this today, if your goal is to make $100,000 this year, or $500,000, or $1 million, or whatever it is, you don't have to look far. You can literally type into Google and search success stories online. I mean, do it. And that's my next step is once you have decided, what you want to do and how you're going to do it. So I say, I'm going to sell $100,000 online and I'm going to do it by doing drop shipping. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is go to Google and type in drop shipping success stories online. Okay. And you're going to find tons of stories. And then what that's going to do is that's going to set up your mind and you're going to go, oh, all right. So there are people doing this. There are people making, incredible amounts of money online, and that's available to me too. Now, I know when I started my business in 2009, and the next part of this is going to be your motivation. So you need to find your motivation. My motivation was that I was in a job that was okay. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. I was working too many hours, and I was a single dad raising my 2 kids. My dog's chiming in the background there. Okay. So I was a single dad and I was raising these 2 kids. Jessica's going to go take care of our dog. She is alerting us. Awesome. And this is what happens when you do a live cast. Okay. But anyhow, I was on this job And the one thing that really, I guess, stuck in my craw, the one thing that really got to me was that I didn't like my boss. I didn't like him. I mean, it really came down to something as simple as that I didn't like this guy. I didn't think he had good morals. He didn't have good work ethic. And yet, he was my boss, okay? But that was the thing in 2009 that told me that I need to do something else. I got to do something else. Now, I wasn't a young man. I was 50, okay? This was going back 10 years ago. And I didn't have any technical skills. I didn't grow up with, smartphones. As a matter of fact, I grew up when I was a kid with dial phones. We literally had the dial thing, right? So technology, it was way beyond me at that point in my life, 2009. It's not now. It's not now. And that's what I want to share with you that's super, super important, guys, is it doesn't matter what your knowledge level is right now. That's irrelevant. You're never going to go into this business. You're never going to go into selling stuff online and having never done it, walk up and go, I know everything. I mean, it's crazy, but that's what a lot of people do. They stop themselves because they say, well, I really can't do anything because I haven't done this before and I don't know anything about this. No kidding. That's how everybody starts, and sometimes they'll say, well, I didn't grow up with, all this technology, so I'm going to have a hard time with it. Don't tell yourself that. Do not tell yourself that because it's so far from true. The truth is technology's out there and it's easier to learn now than it was back then. I know in 2009, you had to paste a lot of things together. You had to, get an email provider, and then you had to figure out how to do some type of graphics for a sales page. And then you had to have some type of sales page, code in there. All these things you had to figure out in 2009, you don't have to do now. You can use things like Kartra. And Jessica, you have the link to Kartra? I think it's bit.ly/ Kartra uppercase JR. So check that out, guys. So that's a software that will do a lot of this stuff for you, that you don't have to do it. So in this sequence that we're talking today, it's figure out what you want to do. Okay. Number one, figure out what you want to do. Number two, believe you can do it by finding examples out there, right? Find your motivation. Okay. In examples, and then find your real motivation for doing it. Now, my real motivation for doing it was I wanted more time with my kids. I wanted to travel. I wanted to get away from my boss. I mean, I did. I wanted to get away from this guy. It was unbearable to work for this guy. I couldn't do it anymore. It was just too much. So that was my motivation. And I will tell you, motivation which stems from disgust or frustration is one of the best motivations you can have. So if you're at that stage where you're frustrated, maybe you've tried to do some stuff online, maybe you've tried to sell some products and it didn't work out, and you're just like, you're throwing up your hands and you're just so frustrated, that's the exact point you don't want to quit. I'm telling you, that is the point you don't want to quit. I can't count how many times I got really frustrated at a situation or a product or whatever it is, or income or whatever, sales page, whatever it is. And you got to kind of push through that, because if you do, on the other side of that frustration, and I look at frustration and problems as a wall that, is put up between people who are weak and success. Did you get that? There's a wall between people who are weak and real success, because people are strong. They see the wall and they go, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna keep going forward. I'm not gonna let this bother me, and I'm gonna keep moving forward. I'm not gonna let it bother me. Today, when I lost my notes for my coaching call, I was like, but I still go through with it. You have to go through with it. You got to do these things. You got to do them when you don't feel like it. Now, that's the next part of this motivation, thing I'm going to tell you about. Is motivation is basically doing stuff when you don't feel like it, because if you sit back and you go, you know what, I think I'm going to start a business and I think I'm going to sell some products. And, when I kind of get motivated, I'm going to start looking for products. I'm going to start figuring out how to do this stuff. I got to get that motivation going first. Don't do it. Don't do it. No. Ignore the fact that you're not motivated, because the motivation will come. Imagine this, you don't feel like doing it, but you search products and you build pages and you run ads and you sell something. That first time sale, I know my first time sale was $10. And I was so motivated by this. I remember running in the living room. My kids were in there. I'm like, man, I sold something online. They were like, great. What'd you sell? And I told them what I sold. And it wasn't even a related product to what I'm selling now. And they were like, how much did you make? I said, well, I didn't really make much. I only sold $10. And they both turned and looked at each other like I was crazy. They were like, well, $10 is nothing, Dad. It's nothing. But they had missed the point because they were kids at the time. The point was I had made something. And that something, that $10, that $10 sale motivated me to say, wait a second, if I can sell one of these at $10, maybe I could sell two, maybe I could sell three, maybe I could sell four. And it's really that getting started. It's really that, having that little tiny success that's going to bring motivation, because like I told you in the beginning, motivation is not success, and it never will be success. And that's where too many people are led down the wrong path. They're like, well, as soon as I get motivated, I'm going to do something. My whole problem is I don't have the motivation I need. And that is not your problem. That has never been your problem, because anybody who's ever succeeded in anything did not start with motivation. They started with a goal, and they started with something they wanted to do, and they looked for inspiration by looking out there and trying to find people who had done some of the same things to prove to themselves, to prove to their brain that it could be done, and then they just started working on it. They didn't necessarily feel motivated. Now, there may be people who get up every single day and is motivated to do work every single day, motivated to really get going every single day, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it's true. I believe most people have to push themselves. And another analogy is, guys, if you've ever been to the gym, going to the gym's not fun. Okay. Now it may be for some people. My son's a bodybuilder and he's all into that. And he says he likes going to the gym, but when I really corner him on it and I say, do you feel like doing it every day? He goes, well, no, I don't feel like doing it every day. I said, well, why do you do it? He says, because of the results. So once again, it comes down to the results. If you go to the gym for a week and you don't see any results, is it easy to lose your motivation? The answer is yeah, it's real easy to lose your motivation. But if you continue to go to the gym for 2 weeks and 3 weeks and 3 months and 4 months and 6 months, is it possible that if you force yourself to do this every single day or 5 days a week or 3 or whatever you've selected, is it possible you could see some results? And the obvious, intelligent answer to this is, of course. Of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, if I did it for, 6 months and I did push-ups and I rode the bike and I lift weights, I could probably get stronger. I probably may even see a difference in my body. And that's the thing that's going to motivate you. That's the thing that's going to motivate you. Once you start to see results, in online sales, in your business, in your life, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, that's where your motivation is going to come from. So, in this session today, if you get nothing else, but you get the fact that it's what you do that's going to gain you the motivation, not the motivation is going to get the success, then you've won. You've won. You've got this. Okay. So put in the comments if you're understanding this, if you get the concept of motivation versus success, because they are really closely related, but they're backwards. You need to be successful before you can be motivated. So if you're getting this, put that in the comments there, and I'm going to switch back and forth between YouTube and my inner circle group over here. My inner circle group's awesome. Love you guys. You are just awesome. But put in there if they get that. Robert says, yeah, he gets it. And Denny says he gets it. And Eric says he gets it. Now, you're not going to see all the comments from everybody else, guys. So don't let that freak you out and go, oh, I don't want to be the only one to comment. You're not the only one. There's plenty of people commenting. I have the comment section turned to private right now, just for this setup today, to make sure we got everything working right. So don't worry about that. But I do want to hear from everybody. Marco, Christine, David, Asra, all you guys, put a comment in there. Let's see here. Christine is saying, so far I've sold only $24 worth of books with no advertising at all. I know, Christine, how you doing? That showed me that it can work if I start advertising and marketing. So yes, I get it. Cool. And I know Christine very well. She is one of our inner circle people. And you could do this stuff, guys. You could do this. I mean, I'm a guy who had zero experience. I was in the car business. What am I doing selling stuff online? What right do I have to sell stuff online? And I finally told myself I have the same right that everybody else does. My wife, who is sitting across my office right now, liked animals. And I encouraged her a little bit, but that's not what got her to accomplish things. What got her to accomplish things was putting forth effort, and I told her she could do it. Maybe she needed somebody to tell her she could do it, but she's super smart. I mean, super smart. Like, this morning I couldn't get some of these technical things worked out, and within seconds she did. And the first thing she always tells me, because I think she's always afraid of not being able to figure out what I need, is she'll say, well, I don't know anything about that. Well, I'll look at it. So she kind of prefixes it with that, but she always seems to figure it out. Is that not right, Jessica? Yell out.
Yes.
Yes. And you know what she's done is she has started training dogs. Now, I will tell you, when I met her in 2010, she didn't even think she liked dogs. And she's getting ready to do a really cool webinar, guys, and I would highly recommend you check it out if you have a pet. But she's doing a training on how to get your dogs to stop barking. Wow, that's pretty cool, right? Imagine, and our dog is trained to this point. This is what she's done with our dog. She's trained the dog. When the dog barks, the dog's alerting us and letting us know, there's somebody at the door, there's a noise outside, whatever. We can sit on the couch at this point, look at her and go, thank you. And she stops and she'll walk over and lay back down, because we have taught her that communication. And that's how good Jessica's training is. So I'm gonna put a link over there. Jessica, could you put a link on YouTube and in Webinar Jam to your training?
You can't put links on YouTube.
You can't put links on YouTube?
YouTube chat, no.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. We can't put the links there. But you could say it out loud. You could do that.
To register?
Yeah. If they want to get that free training from you.
Yes.
So she's going to get that for you guys. But on top of that, she wrote a book. Now, some of you may go, and I know Christine's written books. She's on this call right now. People think, well, man, people write books. They're so intelligent. They're so smart. They know how to do so much. And that's just not the case, guys. If you've been through school, you've written a book. You just did it in pieces. You had to write different papers throughout school. And if you add them all up, it's a book. It's not really that hard to do. So Jessica actually dropped a link in there for you guys. If you want to register for that dog training, I would definitely do it. It's a dog barking masterclass. That's pretty cool, right? Dog barking masterclass. And you also have a Facebook group, Jessica. Somebody's asking, do you have any other information? Could you put your Facebook group in there too? She has a free group, guys, called The Art of Pet Parenting. Now, the reason I'm telling you about her is not to promote her stuff, which obviously we want to promote her stuff, but I'm trying to show you she went from, I don't think I like dogs in 2010 to loving dogs, being involved in dog rescue, having dog courses, having a dog Facebook group, writing a book on, dogs. I mean, what the heck? Did she have a right to do that? Well, you would say initially, no, she didn't, because she didn't know anything about it. But she just did what I told you to do, guys. She picked a goal. She went out and got educated. She watched other people doing this, so she got the motivation. You follow a lot of people in that too, don't you, Jessica?
Yes.
She follows a lot of dog trainers. And you can say more than just the word yes, Jessica. She doesn't talk a whole lot. So you may want to mention who you follow or something, Tell me a little bit about that. And if you could...
Follow my dog training?
Yeah, who do you follow?
Primarily Victoria Stillwell.
Victoria Stillwell, she follows her.
There's Absolute Dogs.
Absolute Dogs. And what do you learn from these people? Why do you follow them? What's the point?
Well, I think no matter what you do, you should always continue to educate yourself. And if there's something that someone else is doing that I can learn from and be better because I learned from it, then I should do it.
Yeah, so she's basically saying she learns from these people, guys, and that learning, okay, helps her educate herself, and then she can do some of the similar stuff. And I've had people say, well, I don't want to go out and educate people with somebody else's information. It's not their information. They learned it from somebody else. Nobody owns information. And, the purpose of this call today is all about motivation, but I'm just trying to show you different ways that you can get this motivation and not lose it. And, please don't tell me things like YouTube doesn't work, or Facebook ads don't work, or Google ads don't work, because that's insanity. Why? Why do I know this? Because people are doing it. right? They're doing it. They're getting results. Now, if you're doing something and it's not working for you, but it's working for somebody else, what does that tell you? What does it tell you? It tells you you're a bad person, right? No, of course not. You're not a bad person. It tells you that you may be doing it wrong, okay? So what you do to get yourself motivated is go find those people who are getting results, see what they're doing, and emulate that. Take what they're doing and put it into yours. Now, don't steal somebody else's personality. You don't want to be just like somebody else. Like, I don't know how to be anybody else, but I do see people who try to copy other people's personality. And guys, just don't do that, guys. Be yourself, but do what they're doing. You know, I started my YouTube channel, 4 or 5 years ago, and I didn't do it right. I wasn't consistent, okay? I didn't, do the title tags. I didn't do the descriptions. I didn't do the things I was supposed to do. I didn't make the videos long enough. There were so many things wrong. And just in the past few months, I've changed all that. And we're getting a lot of results. I have thousands of subscribers at this point and starting to get comments. But I know for a fact that if I keep doing the things that I see other YouTubers do, okay, and I'm not trying to be a YouTuber, I'm just trying to get information out there to educate you guys. But if I do some of the same things they do, I know I'll get the same results. It only makes sense. And so will you. So understand that this whole motivation thing is going to start with a goal. It's going to start with you getting inspired by other people. And here's the big one. It's going to start with effort. Effort. I can't impress upon you enough effort. Now, what your mind's going to do is it's going to try to protect you from pain every step of the way. Now, nowadays, we don't need to be protected from pain because I'm not going to walk out my front door and I'm not going to be attacked by a lion or a bear. Okay, it's not going to happen. Not my neighborhood. We got some coyotes, though. That's a possibility. But my mind's going to still try to protect me from anything that's going to be uncomfortable. And last night, Jessica and I were working on her masterclass. And I got to a point and I said, we need a video of, you going to the front door and, the dog barking and you demonstrating how the dog will stop barking with you just saying thank you. And she looked at me and I looked at her and it was dark and it was late. And she says, yeah, let's do that tomorrow when it's light. And, we'll get that video done. And I thought for a second, and I actually, that ran through my brain too. And I said, no. I said, let's do it right now. She goes, we don't have any lights. I said, well, let's get a light. We have lights in the studio. We'll just go ahead and pull the lights around and do it right now. And we did it. And it only took us, how much time did we spend on that, Jessica?
Like 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. But what did our mind do? Our mind says, wait a second, you're comfortable on the couch right now. Why don't you just wait till tomorrow? Right? Now, we went ahead and did it anyhow. We didn't feel like doing it, got it done. And throughout the day, when you're trying to work on your business, you're going to have stuff like this happen. Every time you get an idea, your brain is going to try to squash that idea because your brain knows that if you get an idea to do something, it's going to require you to do something. It could be uncomfortable. And your brain says, I got to protect you, man. You're starting to make yourself uncomfortable. We don't want discomfort. We want to be comfortable all the time. So, guys, what I want to tell you basically today, and put your comments over there. If you have any questions on this motivation, if you've had trouble being motivated in the past, tell me some of the obstacles that you've come against that have really prevented you from succeeding. Because I'm telling you, if you haven't succeeded right now, it's probably due to effort, but you probably tied it to motivation. Okay, and you don't want to do that. And I know when I started my business, I was guilty of it because initially I wanted to start this online business and I told myself, well, you work so many hours, you only got a couple hours a night when you come home and, you watch TV, and by the time you watch TV, it's bedtime. And then one day I woke up watching TV, I was sitting there on the couch. So I'm like, wait a second, I'm watching TV. Could I be taking this time and doing something else with my time that would be more valuable? Now, here's the killer to this whole thing. Your mind wants to protect you from doing things that are uncomfortable. And I get it. But the things that you do that are uncomfortable right now, like back then when I turned off the TV and I started working on my online business, that was uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. But now I have the comfort and security of a business and I have more money and I can travel and do things. So you've got to do the difficult stuff up front. Austro says it's difficult to keep focused for longer time. Yes, it is. And I would tell you the thing to do is to take whatever you want to do and do it in chunks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this camera here. All right, is that the camera? And I'm going to turn it towards this wall. See this wall here, guys? Do you see that? These are sticky notes of things that I need to do. Now, on the far side over there, I don't have things I need to do. You can't see it because I got all these studio lights in here. But I have broken down into chunks of things I need to do. Let me get this camera back over here again. And the best way for long term is to set little tiny goals. Okay. So I shoot videos for YouTube and I do that once a week. And I try to do like 10 of them. And I don't put up 10 a week. I mean, I don't do that. That would be, craziness. Or would it be? It'd probably be good. But I try to do 10 because I want to post 5 a week. So when I have to film 10 videos, I don't put on a sticky note, film 10 videos. I don't do it. What I do, and this is what you can do to stay focused for a longer time, is I break it down into segments. Okay, so I'm going to put a sticky note there. I'm going to put make 10 titles for videos. That's my sticky note. I put it up there for a day, and that day I got to make 10 titles. Okay. Now that sticky note that I put make 10 titles, when I get those 10 titles done, I'll take it and move it over to the done side. Now, if you notice the done side over here, let me grab this camera again. Okay. The done side over here. See all those notes? Those are all dones. Pretty cool, right? All those are done. Now, what does that do every day? Well, when I come in here and I see all the things I've gotten done, it really motivates me. So then I take that same task about making those 10 videos in another sticky note. I'm going to write 5 scripts, not 10, write 5 scripts. And as soon as I get 5 of the scripts written, and I don't write it word for word, but they're bullet points or whatever, I move that note over there. I've gotten that part done. And then I'll do another sticky note and it will say, write 5 scripts. That way I get my 10 complete and I move that over there to my done side. Now, some of you may go, this is silly. It may be silly, but it works. It really does work. And then what I'll do is I'll write another sticky note where I have to actually record the videos. So, also what I would tell you is take that big task and break it down into really small ones. I've got a bunch more comments here. It says, who is this from here? Robert is saying lots of these events one subconscious protects us from goes back to events from childhood or to our late teens. That is a really good point. It's a really good point. I love it. I love it because we are not the sum of what happened to us in the past. And I see people do that all the time. They'll say, well, such and such happened to me when I was a kid. So what do you expect? What do you expect? This happened to me when I was a kid. I grew up in a super poor neighborhood. So how could I ever do well? Well, I grew up in a super poor neighborhood. I grew up in a neighborhood where people selling drugs on the corner. I was involved in a lot of stuff as a kid. And, to say that's who I am as a grown up is absurd. That's who I was then because of my actions. And this is who I am now because of my actions. I know I've watched Jessica and I admire her a lot because she's done a lot and accomplished a lot. And she didn't come into this with tons of experience. She didn't come into this with tons of confidence. It was just the opposite for her too. But she's achieved these things and she has obstacles all the time and she has stuff fail and I have stuff fail. And it doesn't matter because we know that if we keep putting forth effort, we keep working, like this coaching call right here, every Friday, this coaching call, and I've missed very few in the past, I think, 3 years, Jessica? It's going on a good 3 years now. Yeah, going on 3 years of doing this call. And guess what, guys? There are days when I don't feel motivated to do this call. I say, I'll do this call. I'll do this call. But you know what? If you push through and you keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, after a while, guess what? You get results. So I hope I've explained this motivation thing to you a little bit. Jessica, do we have some free links where they can get some free stuff? I've got a course I think I could give you guys. I have a free e-commerce course. I don't know if you got any other links for training. Maybe my Art of E-commerce Success, guys. If you want to join my Facebook group, if you're not in it, I highly suggest you going there. She just put up the link here for my free e-commerce course. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll look down in the description and you will find links down there. And Jessica, that's where we can put links, by the way.
Yeah.
Not in the chat section, but in the description. You'll find stuff down there, guys. If you're curious about this microphone, this backdrop, any lighting, any cameras, anything I'm using, I also have links down there for, and I keep looking down here. I know you guys are actually here. I have links down there for Amazon where you can find all this stuff. They are our affiliate links. Check those things out. She's also giving you a subscription link here to the channel. It's bit.ly/YT-JRF. Okay, so that is the subscription link to my YouTube channel. I highly recommend you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I do 5 videos a week, Monday through Friday. On Saturdays, oftentimes I will post my coaching call, which this is a coaching call right now. However, we probably won't post this one because I already did it on YouTube. We don't want to do it twice. But I really appreciate you guys showing up. Put it in your comments there if you, somebody's saying, what kind of camera do I use? Let me get over here. I can't, is it David? Yeah. David, I've got on my screen that I'm recording with right now is a Logitech, and there is a link in the description below for this particular camera. However, I use a Nikon, is it D2400 or 4200 I have, Jessica? 3200, excuse me. There's a link down in there for that. Now that's the camera I normally use. I look a little dark here, but that's the camera I normally use.
I'm looking at your links on your YouTube.
Yeah, she said, speak up a little bit.
All I see is, I see mirrorless camera and lens. Is that what?
Yeah, that would be a really good recommended one for them. So that is in the description, guys. You can check that out. Tell me in that comment section there, we got tons of comments here. Do you feel like you could be more motivated this year? Do you feel like you could do more this year? Do you understand that there's a difference in motivation and success, and motivation does not come before success? It never has come before success. Now, I will tell you, excitement comes before success. I mean, you get excited about doing something online. David says, yes, he understands it. People do get excited. They get revved up. But that wears off. It always will. It always has. It always will. When the hard grind shows up, when you got to get up early, you got to stay up late, when you got to turn off the TV. You know, Jessica and I have gotten to where we allow ourselves TV during dinner because you really can't work and eat. I mean, it's a little bit, I guess you could, but that'd be a little bit overkill. But, you know, we also are smart enough to know that we have things we want to accomplish. And as soon as we, finish with those plates or whatever, we're going to get back to the, brass nuts there. We're going to do the stuff we got to do. We're going to get on it. I hope you guys are going to do that. Put in the comment section if you are ready to succeed in 2020. Put in there, I will succeed in 2020. Just put in there, I will succeed in 2020. I want to see those comments pop up there. I will succeed in 2020. Because I'm going to do it. Let me put mine in. I will, I have a hard time spelling, guys. In 2020. And you'll see my comment pop up there because I will succeed in 2020. Will you succeed? Nerman says he will succeed. Michael says he will succeed in 2020. I love it, guys. That's it. David, I will succeed in 2020. If you actually start saying this to yourself, it's going to make a huge difference. I'm telling you, it will. It'll sound silly in the beginning. You'll be like, well, am I telling myself? Osra says she's ready. If you start telling yourself some positive stuff, believe me, your mind will react. Your mind will do the things that you need to do. It doesn't mean that money's just going to show up in your mailbox, though it may. What it means is your mind's going to start saying, well, I want to do things to get to this point. If you start telling yourself these things, we have affirmations. Like I've got a light over here and it says, it's got a whole bunch of money on it. And it says a month. Because I want to make that amount of money a month. Jessica has it on her computers. Put it on yours. Put on there $10,000 a month. If you look at it every day, Bruce says, I will succeed in 2020. Nerman says, I will do the work required to succeed. That's even better. That's even better, right? I will do the work to succeed in 2020. Don't put dumb things up there like, I am successful. No, don't do that. When people will say, well, yeah, put up there that you're successful, that you're a winner. No, not before you've done it. Put up there what you're going to do. Because if you're 40 and you're broke and you live in America, Put that up there. Put up there. I'm 40. I'm broke, and I live in America. I mean, put the facts up there. I mean, sometimes negative motivation will get you going. So what you want to do is you want to put up there your goal or what you're going to do, and make yourself see it every single day. Guys, I really appreciate you listening. I'm going to go ahead and close this thing down. I've got so many things to close down because I've got YouTube going and I've got OBS going, which is the software thing, and I got to figure out how to close it all out. But I really appreciate you guys being here. We're going to head out to lunch. If you're not my friend on Facebook, friend me on Facebook, because what we do on Fridays is we go out to lunch. We try to find a cool place and have a nice lunch, and we take pictures and we share our lunch with you. And I'd love to share with you where we're going today, but you won't know unless you friend me on Facebook. It's J.R. Fisher. Look for me, friend me, and I'll show you some really cool pictures at lunch. Jessica, do you have any parting words for everybody today? She's kind of across the studio from me today, so this is kind of a tough setup.
Well, I pulled up a quote.
She's got a quote. You ready, guys?
It says, "Be stronger than your strongest excuse."
Be stronger than your strongest excuse. I love that. Okay. We all have excuses. Every one of us. Robert says, good session. Thanks. Take care and enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much, Robert. Guys, I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the Art of E-commerce Success throughout the week and on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, guys. I'll talk to you later.